got a couple of college basketball games to look at. First, if you want to go to the website, see that basketball in the lower left-hand corner, just click on that. That's a link to jimfeist.com. You can get daily plays from Jeff, Zach, Jim Feist, and other cappers. And if you want to send us a note, we're at Twitter at jimfeist.com, as well as Facebook at Proline TV. Just send us a note on topics or any sports betting questions you'd like answered. All right, guys, on Saturday we have Kansas playing Texas in a Big 12 showdown game. You got Texas, a team that has had a good weekend. They beat apart West Virginia 77-50, allowing 24% shooting. Apparently, Rick Barnes, he questioned his team before the game using the line, you guys are a bunch of phony tough guys. Well, they went out and crushed the Mountaineers, and then they did that again on Monday, beating TCU 66-48. Meanwhile, you get this Kansas team that had a split weekend. They lost at Iowa State, giving up 51% shooting and 86 points. Then they bounced back Monday with an 85-78 win, but it was a bit of a wild win. So, Jeff, you got this Bill Self team that's covering games, 6-1 ATS run after a loss. They're tremendous in bounce back, 22-8-1 against the spread. So do they have the type of a group that can handle this Texas front court at all?
Well, Kansas always has a team that can handle just about anything, but they've had a couple of bad losses on the road this year. They had that game where they got blown out of tempo. Then they had the last Saturday loss at Iowa State. But they're very impressive coming off that road loss to the Cyclones. 2 days later, they win and cover against Oklahoma. They had a 20-point lead, blew it, and then came back and won and covered. Now they have 4 days off before this game. Everything they did wrong against Iowa State, they corrected against Oklahoma. The Cyclones shot 54% from the floor. Sooners only shot 40. Kansas shot 43% on Saturday, came back and shot 48% on Monday. Kansas now 64-8 straight up after a loss in the Bill Self era. And besides shooting better, the Kansas's transition defense was a major improvement Monday compared to Iowa State. Freshman Kelly Oubre, 19 points, 9 rebounds. He was the Big 12 newcomer of the week last week. Texas had those 2 bad losses against Oklahoma State, but the Longhorns come back strong with those 2 blowout wins versus West Virginia and TCU. In the West Virginia game, they held the Mountaineers at 24% from the floor. West Virginia made a grand total of 13 field goals the entire game. That not only is that looks bad for West Virginia, but that's pretty much the state of college basketball these days. There was an article in USA Today on Monday about how bad the offenses are in college basketball these days. It's just for some reason these kids just can't shoot, and I can't figure out. You think you grow up shooting basketballs, that's pretty much what everybody does, but these guys compared to 20 years ago, they just can't. They're just terrible shooters, and I'm not sure what the reason is.
Did they say it's because they're leaving early or something?
The article was written by Nicole Auerbach. She said that before they get to college, the coaches are concentrating on ball handling and creating shots. But what good is creating shots if you can't make it anyway? So
you're a bricklayer.
I don't know, but anyway, and TCU in the Texas TCU game Monday night, TCU was held at 33% from the floor. And Texas out-rebounded him 37-24. Isaiah Taylor finally got back in form. He missed 10 games with an injury, and then he had 4 poor shooting games, but he was 6 for 12 with 7 rebounds and 6 assists. Texas 10-6 against the spread, 1-4 against the spread at home, 4 on the road, and 4-5 at home. But this should be a very close game, I would think. I think it goes to the wire. Right now I don't have a line on it, but I would say any points, 2 or 3 points either way would be valuable in this game, John.
All right, well, Zach, you got this Texas team that's 3-2 in the Big 12, 8-3 against the spread when they face a winning team. On the other hand, they're only 1-4 against the spread at home. Can they tame the visitors, or are they just a bunch of phony tough guys, as the coach called them?
They're a young group. I know last year when I was watching them, they kind of got better as the season wore down. They had a big win against ASU in the tournament. And then this year they were off to a little bit of a slow start, new young players on their team. And then they had, obviously, McClellan's transferred. He's starting for Miami this year, so they've had a little bit of influx there. But Kansas, I've watched them more closely this year. They had a very good win at Georgetown earlier this year. They blew a huge lead against Utah, who I still consider as one of the top 7 to 8 teams in college basketball. They still held on to win that game. And then recently, obviously, they had that big lead last night against – who were they playing last night? Don't have it in front of me. But
Oklahoma.
Yeah, Oklahoma. They had a big lead against Oklahoma. I watched parts of that game, and somehow they let them come back. So they're getting into that pattern. And then the game against UNLV here, against UNLV was up 7 or 8 at halftime. But the thing with Kansas, they might give up a lead, they might get down, but they find a way to go on these huge runs because they have supreme offensive talent. Defense is still not to par, obviously, because against Temple they got blown out with just no intensity of that game. But that was probably the worst game I've seen from them this year. So it'll be interesting to see what this line comes out at. I don't know enough about Texas. I wouldn't give it out as play. I still think they're just a young group. It's hard to get a beat on them right now. But I'd imagine the line would probably be slightly favored for Kansas with the way they're playing and the type of caliber teams they played this year. Probably be 1.5, 2-point favorite. If the money comes in on Texas, it'd probably be a very, very slight favorite on Texas, well, maybe 1 point. But I wouldn't have a play on this game.
Okay, well, I'll take a look at the total. I think it's going to be a lot more offense than defense. First of all, Kansas does play their best defense on the road, 27-13-2 under the total on the road. However, their offense is clicking now 5-2 run over the total. When they face a team with a winning record, they're 7-1 over the total. Meanwhile, you get this Texas team that has just been on a tear on offense these last 2 games. They're 13-7 over the total on Saturday. And when these teams met last year, the winning team topped 80 points, 81-69 in the first meeting and 85-54 in the second. We're going to look for an up-tempo running gun game on Saturday.